For those that don't know me, my name is David Goodstein. Freedom Forever is our main installation partner. At the moment, they're in 27 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and they work with 3 different finance companies for purchase and currently working with 4 different leasing companies. Today, we're going to introduce you to our process, systems, training outline, and procedures so you know what to expect moving forward. We need to be uniform, consistent, and standardized, where everyone is marching to the same drumbeat and on the same page at the same time, following the same process each and every time. Think McDonald's. It's why they operate from top to bottom the same way all over the world. For that reason, we created a centralized and automated platform that does just that. It includes a detailed, comprehensive training program, dialer, leads, tier 1 VoIP provider, DIDs, and CRM, basically creating a turnkey operation that provides a blueprint for your success. The overall goal was to create a comprehensive sales process, including script and presentation that's easy for both you and the customer to follow and understand, thereby streamlining the process, saving valuable time and aggravation for all concerned. The first thing you're going to do is log in to our website, and you're going to enter your username and password that was provided and hit submit. This is what it looks like. This is our CRM platform. Now, you may hear it referred to as a CRM or platform or both. It's where you're going to find all of the tools and training material. Now, today I'm just going to do a quick tour and provide a brief description. We're going to discuss each component in depth in the upcoming training material. Keep in mind, we're always going to try to improve the platform, so the layout and its contents may change and get updated from time to time. Now, because my screen is a little bit different than yours, and for demonstration purposes, when I refer to videos or documents, I'm going to show it to you on a spreadsheet so you can see it all in one place, rather than be going here to go there to go there. As you can see on the left-hand side, we have all the different navigation tabs. After the tour, I'm going to explain how this all ties together. Now, the first one is the dialer. It's integrated into the system and it's plug and play. You can log into the system and take calls remotely from any location. All that's needed is a computer and a high-speed internet. It's a customized predictive dialer built on a Vichy platform, but it's on steroids. We use tier 1 VoIP routes and have at least 10 DIDs or caller IDs for each area code that we're dialing. The DIDs are rotated out as they get flagged for spam and replaced with new ones. The advantage being that the customer recognizes that it's a local number and are more likely to answer the call, as it does not show up as a spam call on their caller ID or out of their local area. All the calls are recorded and stored, the purpose being that if it ever gets into a he said, she said situation, we have the recordings to fall back on as proof. This email tab is where you can log into your company-provided email. We sent you the credentials to log in. Your company email has been registered with Freedom Forever, and we'll use that to log into their portal. Any correspondence from Freedom will also go to that email. Just so you guys know, regarding the email, you'll notice that the email that you have ends with tmivaca.com. In case anyone asks or you're curious yourself, it's actually 2 different acronyms put together. The TMI part stands for too much information, and the VACA part stands for virtual agents kicking ass. As the appointment is being set, you're going to fill out what we call a web form. And you're going to fill out all the appropriate fields and then schedule the time and date of the appointment. Once completed, it's going to trigger a series of events that are automated within the system. It will also automatically enter the lead information into the Freedom portal as well as our own internal CRM. Therefore, you're not going to have to enter it in manually. There are two types of web forms. The one you see here is for when you have a self-generated lead, and then we have another one that's built into the dialer. The one that's built into the dialer is calibrated with the dialer, meaning that the lead information that's in the dialer will transfer to the web form. It's your job to make any corrections and fill in the missing fields. The next thing I want to show you is a submission report. It's where to go to see all your deals in your pipeline. Start by entering the start date and put in the end date, and then hit go. And you'll find the deal that you're looking for. All the information listed is what was entered on the web form. This is also where you can access the pre-submission worksheet, which we'll talk about in depth later on. All right, this is the information that you would put into the web form, and then below that we have the worksheet. Now, going back to our CRM, the next one you'll see is the training program, which includes all the videos and training material that you're going to need. We'll circle back to that in a moment. I just want to get through the remainder of these tabs first. The next tab is the contacts page. It includes all the phone numbers and emails for the various departments, not only within Freedom, but also for the financing and leasing companies. Basically having them all listed in one place that's easy to navigate to. We then have the appointment setting script. This is a script that was specifically designed for the leads in the dialer to set the appointments. We'll go through that in detail in the training along with all the other scripts and the presentation itself. Next, we have the closer callback script. This is the script that was designed specifically for people that we spoke to in the past and are trying to reconnect. As I said, we have Google and email instructions. Here you're going to find step-by-step instructions to set up and integrate Google Meet and Google Calendar. And they can be integrated with each other. We utilize Google Meet for our virtual appointments to conduct presentations. It allows us to share screens with the customers. We found from the customer's perspective, using Google Meet is less cumbersome and less complicated to use than any of the other screen sharing platforms. We use Google Calendar to manage and keep track of our schedules. In addition, you'll find two email templates that we created for you that you will send to your customers. The first is for the initial meeting invitation, providing the time and date of the appointment with a link to the Google Meet. It also includes links to a series of videos to give them some basic knowledge of solar and provide some credibility for you by going the extra mile. The second is a reminder email that includes brochures to, again, broaden their knowledge and maintain credibility, helping to ensure that they follow through and meet with you. Both emails are reminding them to send you the electric bill and why it's so important for them to do so. Once the meeting is scheduled and integrated with the calendar, another reminder email will be sent to the customer from Google itself. Right, so it's a three-prong attack to make sure that the customer meets with you. The presentation and PowerPoint, the PowerPoint presentation and the script Um, they work hand in hand with each other. When creating the script, it became apparent that a customized presentation was also needed to coincide with it for a number of reasons. The first being to help narrate the story to the customer. The script is basically describing the slides that are being shared with the customer. The second reason is the presentation within the Freedom Portal is too generic and incomplete, not to mention everyone else uses it. Again, we want to set ourselves apart and be different. Third, is that it includes a number of the calculators that are built in to help demonstrate to the customer how the numbers were derived rather than having to show them manually on a whiteboard. The customer can then see side by side what their current situation is if they did nothing, if they didn't go solar, against what we're proposing, along with all the benefits all in one place. So they can see it side by side. It's very powerful. And on down. Step-by-step submission guides provides easy to follow step-by-step instructions on how to navigate to enter leads and build out and price proposals in the Freedom portal for all of the various finance and leasing companies. Without it, the agent would have to go to the Freedom portal, go to the Learning Center, and then find the step-by-step documents for each company. Here, it's all in one place. Easy to use, easy to navigate. All right. We spoke about the submission report earlier, and I mentioned we'd review the due diligence worksheet process, and it's where everything ties together. Through my experience, in order to be successful, there needs to be an easy to use system in place and blueprint to be able to follow. As I'm sure you're aware, the biggest problem in the industry is that it's so convoluted, fragmented, and nuanced, where each installation group, financing company, state, county, and utility company all have their own way of doing things and their own requirements. Not to mention, each agent may be on different levels, having different experiences, and having their own way of doing things, especially if you're trying to do it on a national level. We're in a very unique position where we can offer the customer a myriad of options and flexibility to demonstrate how complicated it could be. Currently, Freedom works with three different finance companies and four different leasing companies who offer both leases and power purchase agreements, or what we call PPAs. Each one works in specific states and all work with different utility companies within those states. Meaning, just because one works in a specific state does not mean they all work with all the utilities within that state. Nor does it mean just because one works with one utility, all of them work with the same utility. It's one thing if you're working in one state and one geographic area within that state, where you're just dealing with one or two utility companies and one or two financing options. That's pretty straightforward and easy enough to manage. But what happens if you're in multiple states with hundreds of utility companies and multiple finance companies? It's virtually impossible, let alone be effective. Using the Freedom Portal to illustrate how convoluted the process is and how hard it is to navigate, when logging in, there are many, many training folders, subfolders, and sub-subfolders. If you total it all out, there's over 500 documents in all combined. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack to find exactly what it is you're looking for. If you didn't have this platform that I'm about to present, you'd spend considerable amount of time getting the answers to the most basic questions for each and every deal. All that information was condensed into this platform, with much of it being automated. For example, if you had to figure out manually without the platform what financing options were available, it would take as long as an hour to do so. This is because you would literally have to find each company's master utility list, open it up, and scan the utility companies in that state and repeat the process for all six remaining companies just to figure out what options are available to your customer. As I said, it would be easy if you were just working in one state, in one geographic area, with just a few electric company options. We're also not offering a one size fits all option. Each deal is customized to fit the customer's needs, wants, and comfort level. Basically, we're offering something to everyone rather than trying to shoehorn a deal in just to make a sale or use your personal bias to influence the outcome. We want you to approach it as if you're an advocate for the customer, selling the idea of solar and educating them on the advantages and disadvantages of each option. Letting the customer make an educated decision and sell themselves on which product and options to choose. To do that, we simplified the process by creating a structured step-by-step procedure. It's designed to set you up for success from the very beginning, narrowing down the choices as you go along from step to step. This saves you time and lets you know what direction to go in and what options to present before you even start creating the proposals. So let's dive in and demonstrate how it works. Don't worry if you miss something, we'll go over it in depth in the training. At this point in the process, you already set the appointment and filled out the web form. To find the worksheet, we're going to go back to the submission report, open it up, and locate the correct lead that we're looking for, and navigate over to the phone number and click it. The worksheet will open up, and the first thing you're going to see is the web form that you already filled out. This is where the agent's going to do all the due diligence ahead of the presentation. It's designed to help narrow down the choices available. And there's 15 steps in the process that will provide direction and a game plan on how to proceed when it comes time to create the proposal later on. Now, the first step is what we call the sales lookup. The first thing you're going to do is copy the zip code and notate who the electric company is. And you're going to go over to the Freedom Portal and you're going to go navigate over to the sales lookup tab, which is the second one from the bottom. You're going to paste the zip code in. It's going to ask you what the city is. And we're going to enter that. It's going to ask you what the utility company is. And we find that, and it's Georgia Power. And then it's going to populate all the information that you're going to need from Freedom, starting with the branch that it's coming out, Atlanta, whether it's Safe Street or Smart Home eligible, if there's a distance adder, what the processing time is, the pre-install time, and what the utility bill requirements are. You're then going to copy and paste that information and you're going to put it back into the web form or the worksheet and you're going to paste that information in there and then hit update. That information is going to save. So anytime that you go back to it, it's all the information is in one place. This brings us to step 2, the redline and utility company calculator. When you filled out the web form, 2 of the fields that you filled out were the state and the customer's utility company. That extends down here and lets you know all the financing options that are available based off of the state and the customer's utility company. The last thing that you want to do is design a system, pick a financing option, design the system, price it out, sell it to the customer, and then find out they don't work with that utility company, and then you have to start all over from scratch. It also shows you what the red lines are in that state and for the financial option. Obviously, each one is different. This lets you see which option you can offer with the highest commission, choosing the lowest red line as your first choice. Meaning, if it's a choice between one leasing company or another, you're going to go with the one with the lowest red line, or one finance company versus another. All right. That brings us to step three, which is the Zillow lookup. Now, to access it, we're going to go back to the submission report. And over here, you see where it says click view. We're going to click on that, and that's going to bring us directly to Zillow for this property. So you can see what the property looks like ahead of time, what kind of roof it is. You'll see what year it was built in, how many acres, what type of home they consider it to be, what type of roof it is, etc. At the bottom of this, if you scroll down, you'll see that it shows a price history of what the house was listed for, what it sold for, when it was sold, etc. What it doesn't show is who the homeowner is. But what they do is provide a link to the county website, either property appraiser's office or the property assessor's office, whatever they name it in that specific county. You hit the link and it takes you directly to it. You do a property search and you can see who legally owns that property. Sometimes the customer says they own it when legally they don't. Maybe it's a rent to own situation. Um, we want to know so we can be proactive and not reactive ahead of time. Last thing we want to do is jump through all these hoops, build the system, sell the system, and then find out that the person is not the homeowner and waste a bunch of time. Or find out that the finance company DQ'd the deal because they don't work with LLCs or corporations, or because it's held in a trust. And now we have to find another option after all the work has been done. All right. So again, we want to be proactive, not reactive. It just takes a few seconds to do this. So it's not like you're going out of your way. Moving on to step five, all the finance and leasing companies have their own set of requirements. If the customer or property do not meet all of the requirements, they're going to be disqualified. And you're going to have to make an alternative choice as to what financing option you're going to use. All right. So again, we want to be proactive, making sure that we're doing everything correctly ahead of time before we find out it's too late and have to waste a whole bunch of time and start over. All right. Moving down to number six, um, whichever state the customer lives in, this step's going to explain if there's any special licensing requirements to sell in, what financing options are available, whether it's purchase or financing only, leasing only, or PPAs, uh, and any combination thereof. If there are any HOA laws that you need to be aware of, any SHRECs or state renewable energy credits that are available, um, are the property or sales tax exemptions, any solar rebates or local incentives? Is it a net metering state or a net billing state? And if there's any battery incentives that are available to this customer. Once again, this is all good information to know ahead of time before you build out the system or speak with the customer. You want to have all your ducks in a row. Moving on to step seven, Each finance or leasing company has requirements as to which baseline solar models you need to use and what's included in the pricing. And it may be different for each state. The calculator shows which to use depending on the finance option. So, in other words, if you're using an infin TPO in this state, you're going to use Q cells. If you're using Everbright as the finance option, JA Solar 405s, GoodLeap for Q Cell 410s, etc. All right. These change all the time. All right. So anything that you see in here is accurate. Step 8. Based off of the state and that the customer resides, the calculator is going to show what batteries are available for each finance option, what configuration, and the cost for each. And they're different for each state. Moving on to step 9. Once again, based off of the state the customer resides in and the utility company, the calculator shows whether or not the non-battery option is available to the customer. If the utility company that the customer has is listed, then that option is available. In this case, we're looking for Georgia Power. It's there, therefore, the non-battery backup option is available to this customer. All right, moving to 10. Um, Depending on the state and the utility company, for leases, there may be special rates that you must use when doing a lease or a PPA option. If the customer's utility company is listed, then you must make sure that when creating the proposal that its utility rates listed are used for both pre and post solar. Again, you don't see Georgia Power here listed, therefore we don't have to worry about it in this case. All right, step 11, we have the electric bill calculator. Once you receive the electric bill, you're going to fill out the appropriate fields and starting with the monthly dollar amount and usage for the bill provided. You're then going to fill out the usage amounts for each month. The purpose is twofold. Number one, to figure out the average cost per watt, including delivery costs, junk fees, and taxes. So you can compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges. Number two, we want to determine what the average monthly electric bill is really. You're going to find that in many cases, the amount that the customer gave you is different than what reality is. It's another tool in your belt to use for your advantage. For example, if the customer tells you that their average bill is $150 a month, that's their perception. And that's the number that they're going to measure what you're offering against. So when you pitch them a price of, say, $140, it's only saving them $10 a month according to their perception, right? Because they're measuring it against $150. Now, in their mind, is $10 enough savings to move the needle? Probably not. But after using the calculator, you determine that their average bill is, say, $200 a month. Well, saving $60 a month may be a different story and may move the needle in your favor. Now, you may want to share this calculator with the customer to drive home your point if it's to your advantage. Share it with the customer. If not, don't. It's your choice. All right. But you want to know what it is ahead of time before you even design the system. Step number 12, we have the lease adder calculator. Without getting too complicated, the lease calculator will come in handy when you're trying to price out leasing deals if adders are used to determine what to charge. So the additional costs do not come out of your pocket because you failed to include them. The training videos are going to explain how it's used in detail. Don't get too worried about it right now. Moving on to 13, we have the adder sheet. And adders are the extra costs for options that are added to the base model. Think of it as like buying a car. It's important to get the adders correct because, as I just mentioned, if you don't account for them or include them, the cost is going to come out of your commission if the customer refuses to pay for it. Right? We'd rather build it in ahead of time than have to worry about it after the fact. All right. We have step 14 and 15. These are finance calculators and lease calculators. Again, without getting too complicated, depending on which option you're offering, you're going to use the appropriate calculator to determine all the benefits and savings, comparing it side by side to the customer's current situation if they did nothing. Before sitting down with the customer, it comes in handy when you're trying to price out the system and determine what will and will not make sense ahead of time. Um, in addition, they're also built into the presentation so you can share it with the customer and it's part of your close. So you can see how by completing this form, it uncomplicates things and streamlines the process by narrowing down the choices for you. Just takes a few minutes to complete, and by doing the initial extra work in the beginning, it's going to save you twice the amount of work later on. As they say, measure twice, cut once. Also, you want to be prepared ahead of time and have a basic understanding of what it is you're talking about and know what the pitfalls are that lay ahead and not be surprised when talking to the customer. Just a few minutes ago, I mentioned the training program. I also mentioned that I would refer to the spreadsheet to illustrate what we're talking about, so all the information is in one place. It's easy to navigate around. To ease the strain and streamline the process, we created a structured step-by-step training program that's broken down into bite-sized pieces that is manageable. The initial training is spread out over 5 days. Keep in mind, knowledge is power. We have created an entire library of documents and videos that are all sorted by topic and easy to navigate. You can access these videos and documents at any time. They're built into the CRM. So that's the platform CRM and training outline in a nutshell. The intention of the video was to introduce you to our process, systems, training, and procedures so you know what to expect moving forward. This was just an overview. The training videos and documents will take a deep dive into each subject. The overall goal was to create a comprehensive, standardized sales process that's easy for you guys to follow and understand. Let us know if you need any help with anything. Thanks.